the people of India have said very clearly that they did not like what Mr. Narendra Modi has been doing, his agenda, the way he ran the government, the way he conducted the campaign. So it is a very, very clear and very tight slap on the face of the Prime Minister and his party and his way of doing things. This is something very clear. Mr. Narendra Modi, if he were to continue as the Prime Minister and hold his coalition together, he will have to reinvent himself. And to my mind, that is going to be very, very unlikely. And I think that had already put him in a very, very uncomfortable spot. Because he's dealing with a coalition whose demands are going to be unending. Maybe sometimes, from the point of view of Ms. Narendra Modi, unreasonable too. And especially the two leaders from one from the south and one from the north, Mr. Nitish, Kumar and Mr. Naidu, are very, very shrewd, experienced politicians. They are not professors of entire political science, mind you. They are politicians. And, they are tacticians. They know when to move forward, when to halt, and when to withdraw, when to retreat. And they are very good at waiting game. You have seen these two politicians for a long time.
Can I ask you this? Are you suggesting that they have the capacity, the experience, and the skill to outplay Mr. Modi?
You see, I feel, outplay, definitely, because one. And second thing is, they can very, very easily wear him out. That is also very important here.
You're suggesting to me that old Mr. Modi cannot become new Mr. Modi. That's what you're saying. He cannot change. He cannot become a different person.
Karan, I do not know whether you think it's possible for a wolf to be in sheep's clothing and also imagine himself to be a sheep. He has been always a wolf in wolf's clothing.
Hello and welcome to a special interview for The Wire. My guest today is perhaps the first analyst to have predicted that Narendra Modi would lead his party to its worst election result in 10 years, squandering in the process its Lok Sabha majority. And that's precisely what's happened. Joining me today to tell us how he views the full result and whether he detects a hint of an anti-Modi flavor is the well-known author, economist, and political commentator Parakala Prabhakar. Dr. Parakala is also Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman's husband. Dr. Parakala, let me begin by congratulating you. You got the election results spot on. I know at the time you were confident, but when the results emerged on Tuesday, were you also relieved?
Yes, Karan, thank you very much. And thank you very much for having me on your show once again. And it's always a pleasure to talk to you and to be on your show. Well, it was more than a vindication or telling myself that I got it right, but it is more of a relief that now the country is not saddled with a baahubali kind of a person as a prime minister, and the government which is got used to getting its way and riding roughshod over political colleagues, political allies, and government colleagues, as well as the states. This is such a relief.
Tell me this. The result is actually a very poor one for the BJP. It may be the single largest party with a fairly substantial lead over Congress at number 2 position. But the truth is, the BJP has ended up with its worst election result in 10 years. The Prime Minister has squandered a 31-seat majority in the Lok Sabha, which he had. He now is 32 below a majority. He cannot form a government without his allies. There is no way the BJP can form a government on its own. How must he be feeling this morning?
You see, there are some very important takeaways from this election, Karan. Whatever the Prime Minister and his colleagues, the party and the government pretend, I think the message will not be lost on them. Uh, you see, let's not for a while look at this as BJP versus other political parties. I mean, ultimately, in the parliament, that will play out. But then I've been, if you recall, I've been arguing that this election is not between one political party and another political party, one leader and another leader, or one alliance and the other alliance. So here, it is an election in which the people of India have said very clearly that they did not like what Mr. Narendra Modi has been doing, his agenda, the way he ran the government, the way he conducted the campaign. So it is a very, very clear and very tight slap on the face of the Prime Minister and his party and his way of doing things. This is something very clear. And, now the Mr. Narendra Modi, if he were to continue as the Prime Minister and hold his coalition together, he will have to reinvent himself. And to my mind, that is going to be very, very unlikely. And I think that had already put him in a very, very uncomfortable spot because he's dealing with a coalition whose demands are going to be unending, maybe sometimes from the point of view of Ms. Narendra Modi, unreasonable too. And especially the two leaders from one from the south and one from the north, Mr. Nitish Kumar and Mr. Naidu, are very, very shrewd, experienced politicians. They are not professors of entire political science, mind you. They are politicians. And they are tacticians. They know when to move forward, when to halt, and when to withdraw, when to retreat. And they're very good at waiting game. You've seen these two politicians for a long time.
Can I ask you this? Are you suggesting that they have the capacity, the experience, and the skill to outplay Mr. Modi?
You see, I feel, yeah, outplay, definitely, because one. And second thing is, they can very, very easily wear him out. That is also very important here. You see, Mr. Narendra Modi, if you look at his political career, starting from Gujarat, uh, he always headed Narendra Modi government, not BJP government, even in Gujarat. And when he came to Delhi, also it was Narendra Modi government, not a BJP government, leave alone NDA government. And this campaign has been a Narendra Modi campaign. This government was projected as Narendra Modi government, and his campaign was Modi guarantee campaign. Abki bar 400 par is also Modi kind of a thing. Therefore, and if he has to run a government not as Modi government, not even as a BJP government, but as a coalition government, as an NDA government, this will test all the skills that he has. I do not think that is going to be possible.
You're suggesting to me that old Mr. Modi cannot become new Mr. Modi. That's what you're saying. He cannot change, he cannot become a different person.
Karan, I do not know whether you think it's possible for a wolf to be in sheep's clothing and also imagine himself to be a sheep. He has been always a wolf in wolf's clothing. Therefore, to completely have a makeover inside out of a persona, and then from starting from morning till night, receiving the laundry list of wishes and demands and fulfilling them, and then sleeping and early morning getting again up with another fresh laundry list of wish. I think that this is not going to be the kind of thing that he was used to and he would be prepared for.
Let me then ask you two questions. You're suggesting problems will start from the very moment this government is sworn in. How long can it last?
You see, I'm saying something very counterintuitive here. First of all, I still have serious doubts if an India government with Mr. Narendra Modi as the head is still a possibility or not. I mean, these things can they look in the realm of possibility, but then when it comes to really seeking the mandate from the parliament, I don't know whether it'll hold until then, because the demands from these allies are going to be tortuous demands.
So
Will
you're
it
so you're
accommodate?
forgive me interrupting, but you're suggesting that even if the government is sworn in 3 or 4 days by the president, when they take a vote of support in parliament, they could fall on the floor of the Lok Sabha.
It is a possibility. Another possibility is that there could be demand for change of stewardship, and probably then the BJP can save the government, NDA can save the government without losing the allies. That's another possibility.
Where will that demand come from? From the Naidu, Nitish Kumar side, or will it come from within the BJP, or might it come, as some people are speculating, from the RSS?
Um, Karan, we do not know exactly where it's going to be, where it's going to originate from. But then it is a possibility that the allies, I'm not going to name the names here, allies might say, look, we do not want A, B to be there in the cabinet, or we do not, we want B or C to be in the cabinet, or something like that. And then, make it so difficult. See, what I see, a clever, very consummate tactician that we see, now NDA is full of them. They would not say that they don't want to go along with NDA, but they will make it so difficult for the NDA to accommodate the government or the prime minister to accommodate the requests. Therefore, make it inevitable for it to fall apart. For instance, I'll tell you. Suppose if one of the allies demands 4 or 5 important portfolios, and then also makes it a precondition that A or B or C should not be there in the cabinet with that particular kind of a portfolio or a department, then you think the present dispensation in the BJP, the leadership in the BJP, will be able to accommodate that in the interest of the survival of the government, or would say, is there anybody else who can really do business and have more winning manners, who can really cobble things together, maybe even break the ranks of India Alliance, either on regional lines or whatever, uh, that there is a possibility of exploring that. If not, and then when that happens, the demand from within the party and of course the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh also could be aid at that stage. Now, it all depends on who bells the cat first, whether it comes from outside BJP or from within BJP or from the Parivar, the mentor of the Parivar.
But you're suggesting that once the cat is belled, whether it happens from within the BJP, whether it happens from the Sangh Parivar, whether it happens from one of the allies, once the cat is belled, you're suggesting there will be an increasing focus of agreement that maybe Mr. Modi doesn't have the skills to run this difficult situation, and someone else may be preferable, not just in handling the complexity of a coalition, but also preferable to the allies.
Yes. Karan, I'll bring in 2 more elements here. You see, the last 10 years or even before, when he was chief minister, Mr. Modi was not seen as somebody who had one friends, one loyalty on the basis of affection, love, or he helped, we have to be grateful, kind of a thing. Then when he were to be in trouble, I do not think from within the party or outside within the alliance partners, there'll be anybody who would feel, oh, he's in difficulty. Let us help him out. he did not earn that kind of a gratitude or that kind of a feeling. This is one.
So there's no empathy or sympathy for him. No one will step forward to help him in a moment when perhaps his future looks in doubt.
I very strongly feel that, Karan. Yes. I do not think, he has earned that kind of a thing. Because you see, the entire episode of 10 years or even before was that either my way or highway. It is not a compromise, give and take, and convincing, sitting with them, talking to them, negotiating, arriving at some kind of an agreement, implementing the agreement, expecting people to help him out, he helping people out. It's not a give and take kind of a transactions that have happened.
So you're also suggesting, Dr. Parakala, that this will be an uncertain government, perhaps even unstable, because as long as Mr. Modi is there struggling against his own character traits to hold a coalition together, there will be vociferous tendencies that will be pulling it apart, and there'll be other people thinking whether someone else should do a better job instead of him. And so, even if he does get sworn in, it will be uncertain and unstable.
I think, to my mind, a coalition with Mr. Narendra Modi as its head is unsustainable.
Unsustainable.
Yeah, that's what I feel.
So, how long do you give it?
Well, as I said, I'll first of all, I'll have to wait and see until the vote of confidence.
That's the first stumbling block.
That's right. Yes.
And if it crosses that, how much further time do you give it?
It's a daily. It's like watching BSE. Bombay Stock Exchange. Where is it going up and where is it going down, kind of a thing.
So, Mr. Modi, if he continues as prime minister, both up till the vote of confidence and then beyond the vote of confidence, will be living on borrowed time every single day.
Every single day, hour to hour, I'm telling you, because you see, the kind of demands that could emerge from the allies and potential allies are against the grain of what he stood for in the last 10 years and what he campaigned for, the entire campaign pitch of this election. Look at, for instance, Andhra Pradesh would like to have a special category status. And remember, Mr. Naidu walked out of NDA alliance in 2018 precisely on issues like special category status for Andhra Pradesh. And Bihar also would like to have that kind of a package or a status or whatever. And of course, there are many other things. And then, of course, there are issues like Muslim reservation, caste census, and then the Uniform Civil Code. Is it conceivable for you to see Mr. Narendra Modi somewhat like Atal Bihari Vajpayee, who could say that let us park Uniform Civil Code and other things, and like they did it in Uniform Civil Code, Article 370 and Ram Janmabhoomi, park them aside and go for a common minimum program kind of a thing. Is it conceivable?
You're saying it's not?
It is not. It is not. It's a rhetorical question.
Let me ask you a different question. One of the things that come instinctively to Mr. Modi is anti-Muslim rhetoric.
Yes.
Even in 2001, when he first took over as chief minister, he was talking about centers where Muslims had sought refuge as baby-producing factories.
Yes.
Most recently of all, he's been calling his own fellow citizens infiltrators and घुसपैठियों.
And जो लोग ज्यादा बच्चे पैदा करते हैं.
So can he restrain and contain himself and stop this sort of talk? Because I take it will not be acceptable to Chandrababu Naidu, it will not be acceptable to Nitish Kumar. They depend upon Muslim votes where they are. Will they permit him to continue in this way in Delhi?
It is against the grain of the politics of those two personalities. So they will not be able to, let this kind of a rhetoric go unhindered. So it's going to be very bumpy, right? If Mr. Modi were to be the prime minister and continue to be the prime minister, it's going to be
Oh dear.
Very,
It's
very bumpy ride and very uncharacteristic. Sorry,
Please carry on.
very uncharacteristic of. Yeah, it'd be very, very uncharacteristic of Mr. Narendra Modi to carry on that way.
So this is another flashpoint in the relationship, isn't it?
Yes, of course. And you see, I have not found any evidence of Mr. Modi being a tactician, somebody who could, play low key if the situation warrants, and who can advance or can retreat, who can lie low. I don't think I found that kind of an evidence in his political career.
So once again, this is another aspect of his character, one that comes to him almost unthinkingly and instinctively, that he has to change and control. Otherwise, his relationship with Chandrababu Naidu and Nitish Kumar over his attitude, treatment, and behavior of Muslims will founder.
Yes. To give you a very practical illustration, Karan, I found a clipping some time ago where Mr. Narendra Modi was to be garlanded, and next to him stood Mr. Rajnath Singh. And Rajnath Singh was ushered away from that particular spot, and Mr. Narendra Modi was alone garlanded. Probably he would have liked that way, and the organizers would have known that. But imagine now Mr. Narendra Modi standing, and on either side of Mr. Modi are Mr. Chandrababu Naidu and Mr. Nitish Kumar. Imagine a situation like that in which the organizers would like these two people to leave. Is that possible? Is that conceivable? It's not to me. And would that go on endlessly every day, every week, and every public event? And you have seen the way the whole thing, any public event, any public meeting, any even a small event is crafted and is orchestrated.
And that orchestration will no longer be acceptable to Chandrababu Naidu and Nitish Kumar. They will not accept playing second fiddle to Narendra Modi.
Not at all. Not at all. You see, they are leaders in their own right. Why will they be, and they don't belong to their his party. That is one. And you see, has there been any evidence of Mr. Narendra Modi being crafty? It is upfront always.
He doesn't know how to be crafty.
Crafty, yeah. I mean, I've not found evidence. And if suddenly, there is a reinvention and a makeover, I cannot say. But so far, you have to go by what you have seen for the last, 20, 24 years.
Let me put this to you. So far, we're speculating about a situation where someone bells the cat, whether from the RSS, whether from within the BJP, whether from the allies, and Mr. Modi is gently, I'll use that phrase carefully, eased out, because he cannot handle this situation. If that doesn't happen, if he insists and he's obstinate and he decides he's not going, what are the chances that Chandrababu Naidu and Nitish Kumar may themselves walk out?
There's a huge chance of that. There is a possibility of that. In fact, just not a possibility, there is a probability of that.
A probability as high as that?
Yes.
In which case?
But in the first instance itself, Karan, let me tell you that if you were to ask me, would Mr. Narendra Modi head this kind of a coalition to start with and win the vote of confidence in Parliament and continue? To me, it's very unlikely.
Absolutely. And you said that earlier. Tell me this. If Chandrababu Naidu and Nitish Kumar walk out, and you said there's a very high probability that they will, I take it they'll walk to the other side, to the India alliance. After all, or do we go to another set of elections?
We do not know how that's going to play out, but it's very unlikely that the NDA would lose power just for one individual.
But then it will have a minuscule majority. they'd have lost something like 28 seats. If Chandrababu Naidu with 16 and Nitish Kumar with 12 walk out, they'll be reduced from 294 to 266, if my maths is correct.
If you leave out the other allies other than Chandrababu Naidu and Nitish Kumar, leave the other ones, even with Nitish Kumar and Chandrababu Naidu, the government is going to be in a minority, isn't it? One. The second thing is that if Chandrababu Naidu and Nitish Kumar were to walk out of NDA, why would NDA sacrifice its government, its power, just to have Mr. Narendra Modi as the Prime Minister?
In which case, that will be the point at which Narendra Modi will be replaced immediately.
Yes, that's a very, very likely situation. Very, very, very huge probability, Karan.
So though Mr. Narendra Modi may get sworn in as a third-term Prime Minister, you don't see that third term lasting very long at all.
Yeah, it'll be a miracle if it lasts or it survives the vote of confidence in Parliament.
Hi, I'm Karan Thapar. Over the last few years, I hope you've been watching my program, The Interview on the Wire. During that period, I've interviewed doctors, politicians, businessmen, scientists, authors, and even the occasional Nobel laureate. For me, it's been exciting. I hope it's been enjoyable for you. But these, as you know, are tough times, and if this program is going to remain bold, independent, and sometimes even defiant, then I think we need your support. At the end of the day, it's a truism, but editorial independence is best defended by the viewers. So if you would like this program to remain the way it is, forthright, outspoken, and interesting, then would you consider supporting us? All you have to do is to click on the description at the bottom. But more than anything else, I hope you will continue to watch the interview. Your viewership means an awful lot to me.
Let me, at this point, go backwards briefly before I end the interview and ask you 2-3 questions about the results. Right across critical states of the Hindi heartland, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, Haryana, even Jharkhand, the BJP lost seats. This was its stronghold. This is where they thought they would be gaining seats. This is where they've suffered their worst losses instead. Was there some sense of an anti-Modi mood that we weren't able to pick up earlier, but which has now become apparent?
Yes. In fact, that is something which I've been saying for a long time, Karan. On your interview also, I've said it many times, that, in the country, a Modi fatigue has set in. And, there are two ways of looking at an election result. One, of course, very technically at the numbers. The other one, the more intangible. Numbers are tangible, but more intangible is the chemistry. If you look at the intangible, there is a complete, total, very clear rejection of the Hindutva politics of Ms. Narendra Modi, especially in the places the states that you have mentioned, because that is where Hindutva politics really, really played out. We don't have to go to Tamil Nadu and Delhi, these places, because that's not the battleground for Hindutva. These states that you mentioned are the battlegrounds for Hindutva, where the Modi's BJP and Modi's Sarkar had done very badly. They lost substantially. And if you crunch the numbers even further, there are now evidences coming out that if it were not to be a three-cornered contest, if it were not to be a four-cornered contest, probably BJP would have lost even more seats there.
Please carry on.
Yeah, if that were the line of argument, then you could say that the chemistry of the outcome of this election is very clearly against the Hindutva politics and the politics of Ms. Narendra Modi and his rhetoric.
Let me ask you this. Clearly, this is a political setback for Mr. Modi, but do you also detect a personal element in the way the country voted? They voted against him politically. Were they also saying, no, you're not the sort of person personally we would like to see continuous Prime Minister? Was there a personal element, a hint of a personal element in the way the North has voted in particular?
Well, it's like this, Karan. I'm one who feels that it is very difficult for anybody to really separate the personal from political in the person of Mr. Narendra Modi. They're two very closely intertwined. Because you see, can you imagine that an alliance and a political party which prides itself in the tradition of systems and maryada and procedures and things like that. Forget about alliance, but it's Modi guarantee and Modi Sarkar. It's not even a NDA Sarkar. Forget it. It's not even a BJP Sarkar. It is not an agenda for governance kind of a thing which used to be earlier. It's Modi, Modi. It is Modi, it is Modi, and it is Modi.
Which is why the rejection is both political and personal.
Exactly. They're closely intertwined. You cannot separate. It's not that, we all like Modi, but we didn't like his politics. It's not that, we didn't like his politics, but we liked him. It's not that. Both are very closely connected. You cannot have Modi without his politics, and you cannot have his politics without the characteristic of Mr. Narendra Modi. Otherwise, you see, BJP earlier to Mr. Modi was a completely different animal altogether.
Two quick questions before I end, Dr. Parakala. What becomes of the enormous personality cult that he's built up around himself now that his majority has disappeared? Now that he's taken his party to its worst electoral performance in 10 years, what happens to that cult of invincibility, that cult of being bigger, greater than anyone else, that cult of being on a pedestal like a shining statue? What happens to it?
These things are, very strange things in history, Karan. I mean, you are a student of history, and you've seen many dictators and many autocrats and many larger than life personalities in history, all across the world. I feel that the last 10 years, and especially Mr. Narendra Modi's tenure, in the long history of India's democracy, republic, is a very forgettable period. I don't think even 1 year hence, people will really remember. They might remember, there used to be somebody called Mr. Narendra Modi who dominated the political scene of India.
You're saying as soon as he's gone, he'll be forgotten?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Mr. Vajpayee was forgotten even by the BJP. You don't find Mr. Vajpayee very prominently in their website itself. And going down the line, I don't think the BJP would like to, wear Mr. Narendra Modi on its sleeve and demonstrate. We had this leader kind of a thing.
My last question: what happens to this claim of not being biologically born? What happens to this claim of being a Desi immaculate conception? What happens to this claim of being sent by God to do God's work? Those are all things he said. What happens to all of that? Because it looks, if his majority has been removed and lost, that God may have turned his back on his messenger.
That's right. That will most probably become a matter for people to laugh and remember and lighten their conversations. That's all is what is going to remain from this era.
Dr. Parakala, thank you very much for making time for me. Thank you very much in particular for sharing what you believe is likely to be the future of the government, assuming, as you suggested, it is actually formed, assuming it survives the vote of confidence, both of which you said are real stumbling blocks. I thank you for this analysis. Take care. Stay safe.
Thank you, Karan.
Hi, I'm Karan Thapar. Over the last few years, I hope you've been watching my program, The Interview on the Wire. During that period, I've interviewed doctors, politicians, businessmen, scientists, authors, and even the occasional Nobel laureate. For me, it's been exciting. I hope it's been enjoyable for you. But these, as you know, are tough times, and if this program is going to remain bold, independent, and sometimes even defiant, then I think we need your support. At the end of the day, it's a truism, but editorial independence is best defended by the viewers. So if you would like this program to remain the way it is, forthright, outspoken, and interesting, then would you consider supporting us? All you have to do is to click on the description at the bottom. But more than anything else, I hope you will continue to watch the interview. Your viewership means an awful lot to me.